Ever heard of the wealthiest criminal in history? Don't think too much. His name is Pablo Escobar. Have you heard of him before? He is arguably the most powerful drug lord ever. Here are some amazing facts about the world's wealthiest criminal in history, Pablo Escobar. Number 1. Pablo Escobar was born in Rio Negro, Colombia on December 1st, 1949. He was born as the third child of 7 children to Escobar Echeverri, who was a farmer, by his mother, Gaviria Berrio, who was an elementary school teacher. He was born into a poor but decent family. Escobar studied briefly at Universidad Autónoma Latinoamericana of Medellín. He was forced to drop out of school because his family couldn't pay for his education. His parents rarely could afford to buy food for him and all his siblings. Leaving school was the first step to Pablo's life of crime. He started stealing, together with his brothers, headstones from cemetery. They sand off the names so they could sell them as new tombstones. Pablo also began engaging in criminal activity, selling illegal cigarettes and fake lottery tickets, as well as participating in motor vehicle theft. He began working for a smuggler after dropping out of college and made his first $1 million by the age of 22. Before moving on to the next fascinating facts about Pablo Escobar, ensure that you click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on future updates from this channel. Also, make sure to watch the video till the end to know about how Escobar spent $2,500 on the rubber band to arrange his money. Number 2. Escobar sold stolen cars and tombstones to smugglers before getting into the drug trade. Pablo Escobar started his criminal activities by selling tombstones and stolen cars to smugglers. After dropping out of school, his family could not cater to his needs. Pablo had to find means to survive. He started with the selling of stolen tombstones and then stolen cars. Roberto Escobar, his brother, on the contrary, claimed that the stones were from the owners of the cemeteries where the clients failed to pay for site layout, and that one of Escobar's relatives was in the business. Before becoming a drug lord, Pablo also involved in the selling of contraband cigarettes, fake lottery tickets, and even kidnapped people. In the early 1970s, he began to work for various smugglers, often kidnapping and holding people for ransom. He was involved in the falsification of report cards. He became a bodyguard and a thief in the early 1970s and kidnapped a Medellín executive to earn a quick $100,000. This episode proved to be a training ground for the future drug lord. Number 3. His drug empire was bigger than his own government. The Medellín Cartel dominated the cocaine trade, with Pablo wielding incredible power and wealth. Colombia dominated the cocaine trade beginning in the early 1970s. The country became a prime smuggling ground for marijuana. Escobar Pablo drug empire was then the government. Under his leadership, a large amount of coca paste purchased from Bolivia and Peru were processed and transported to America. Escobar worked with a small group to form the infamous Medellín Cartel, but the empire was bigger than the people it controlled. At the time, Escobar controlled more than 80% of the cocaine smuggled into the United States. His empire's fame grew, and it was known. Number 4. In 1982, Pablo Escobar as the official representative of the Colombian government. In 1982, Escobar was elected as an alternative member of Colombia's Congress. Despite being a known criminal, his public persona was a positive one to the people of Colombia. He wanted to be liked by the common people, so he built churches, sports fields, and public parks. People regarded him as their own personal Robin Hood. While in Congress, Escobar became known for his plata o plomo tactic, which roughly means bribe or death. He would try to bribe fellow politicians to get a policy to sway in his favor, and if the bribery, plata or silver, was refused, he would order the death of the opposition. Some of the most prominent men in Colombia were victims of Escobar's murderous plot, such as the Colombian Justice Minister and the head of Colombia's National Police Anti-Narcotics Unit. Escobar offered the death of an estimated 600 police officers during his lifetime. Later, information on the source of his wealth was made public, and he was forced to resign, killed the justice minister who leaked the information. Number 5. Escobar donated his wealth to get himself elected to Colombia's Congress. Pablo Escobar wanted to gain more power. He was not satisfied with the title King of Cocaine. He wanted to get into the government. He had to donate his wealth to get himself elected to Colombia's Congress. He bribed his way through in Congress and always wanted decisions in his favor. And if that wasn't enough, he wanted to become the president of Colombia, but his political career ended when the source of his wealth was revealed. Number 6. The biggest cocaine shipment ever made in the United States by Escobar weighed around 51,000 pounds. Escobar made the biggest shipment ever. He made a cocaine shipment that weighed about 51,000 pounds. In the 1980s, the notoriously controlled 80% of the cocaine smuggled to the US. The Medellín Cartel smuggled multiple tons of cocaine each week into countries around the world and brought in up to $60 million per day in drug profits. This made so much wealth for Pablo Escobar. Number 7. Escobar offered to pay Colombia's debt of nearly $10 billion to change the laws of extradition. Pablo Escobar once said that he would rather have a grave in Colombia than jail in US, so he offered to pay Colombia a debt of $10 billion for the government to exempt him from any extradition treaty with the US. He was ready to spend money because he had a lot of it. In 1991, after his surrender, he was allowed to build his prison and choose his own guards. He was living in a luxurious prison. In 1992, the government found out that he has been torturing and murdering people in his prison. But Pablo Escobar escaped before the government could act. Number 8. Escobar spent around $2,500 per month on rubber bands to hold all his cash. Pablo's money was so much that he had problems with arranging the banknotes neatly. According to Escobar Roberto, the Medellín Cartel spent an estimated $2,500 a month on rubber bands needed to hold stacks of bills together. Escobar had a lot of money from the money spent on arranging the money. Escobar also had to write 10% of the money they earned because rats would eat it in storage, or it would be damaged by water or even lost. Escobar also burned $2 million just to keep his daughter warm. Number 9. Escobar's net worth was $30 billion, all profits from his cocaine business. Escobar's made the world's wealthiest criminals by making $30 billion from his cocaine business. He also made the list of international billionaires for 7 years straight, from 1987 till 1993. In 1989, he was listed as the 7th richest man in the world. Escobar made estimated earnings of $420 million in a week. He made this from tons of cocaine he smuggled to the US. Escobar had ample money to spend, and he did spend it. His lavish lifestyle included private planes, luxurious homes, and over-the-top parties. He was rich enough to offer the government $10 billion to pay the debt. Pablo Escobar was just 35 years old when he was listed among the world's wealthiest men. Escobar had a strong desire to become a billionaire since childhood. He became a millionaire by the age of 22. Number 10. Escobar was responsible for killing a Colombian presidential nominee, a justice minister, more than 200 judges, and over 1,000 police officers. Pablo Escobar was responsible for killing of thousands of people, including politicians, civil servants, journalists, and ordinary citizens. When he realized that he had no shot of becoming Colombia's president, and with the United States pushing for his capture and extradition, Escobar unleashed his fury on his enemies in the hopes of influencing Colombian politics. His goal was a no extradition cause and amnesty for drug barons in exchange for giving up the trade. He killed the Minister of Justice because he revealed his source of money, and it caused him his resignation from Congress. He killed thousands of police officers trying to escape the law. Escobar Pablo was a notorious drug lord. Pablo Escobar, a Colombian drug lord, died at the age of 44. He was killed a day after his 44th birthday. He died in a shootout on December 2, 1993. He was shot by Colombian National Police. Escobar suffered gunshots to the leg and torso and a fatal gunshot through his ear. If you want to know more about the adventurous life of Pablo Escobar, you should see the Netflix series Narcos. The series details the adventurous life of Pablo Escobar. I hope you enjoyed these fascinating facts that reveal the life of the notorious drug lord. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss more interesting fun facts and more. Check out the playlist of our videos from the Brain Drain channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.